I bet that guy had a blast just now. That guy probably just had the most fun of his entire life. Right there. Peak Dark and Darker experience. Hey guys, how's it going? Firebox here. I want to show you what I believe is the most toxic build in all of Dark and Darker, really especially in solo gameplay. This is going to be Landmine Rogue. I want to go over the build that I'm running, talk a little bit about why I'm not a big fan of this build, and then we're going to get into just a little bit of PvP that I had from my gameplay. So let's go ahead and get started. For my perks, I'm going to be running Dagger Mastery to increase my damage bonus with my Stiletto Dagger. Stealth, so I can move while invisible. Remember, this is pure invisibility, so no one can see you while you are moving, which is why stealth is so good, because it allows you to close the distance between you and the other player, usually resulting in you killing them very fast. Ambush, because it gives you 50% damage and 10% move speed coming out of hide, which is extremely strong. For those of you that don't know, this used to be two separate perks. You used to have to take one perk for 50% damage, then another perk for 10% speed. This has been combined into one solid perk, so it's very strong. I'm also going to take Creep. This is because not only is it great for hide, because you're going to be completely invisible, and they can't hear you, but it's also good just for moving around the dungeon, because if you do have Creep on, and you hear somebody else walking around, they're not going to be able to hear you coming at all, and you can use hide, which makes you completely invisible. You can typically get a player kill from that alone. I'm also going to be using weak point attack. This stacks with the armor penetration that your weapons have, meaning that Rogue at minimum will shred 50% armor, and at most can shred up to 80% if you're running 2 daggers, and if you decide to run thrust for the additional armor penetration. It's completely up to you if you want to try out this thrust and change it out for one of these 4 perks. But from my experience, I would personally recommend giving this build a try, as it seems quite good, and the 50% or 60% armor pen that I got just from weak point and my weapons seemed like it was more than enough. For the build, I'm rocking the Stiletto Dagger. I personally think this is the best weapon for Rogue. I think I don't really see any other Rogues use anything else. Would highly recommend just going ahead and using this. You can also consider using a Rondel Dagger primary. I would really just stick with the Stiletto for attacking, but that said, if you have the Rondel Dagger primary, if you don't know, having 2 different weapons with armor pen does stack together, meaning that not only would you get 10% from the Stiletto, you would get 10% armor from the Rondel, so your Stiletto would get 20% armor pen, plus the weak point attack that we're currently running for our skill, resulting in pretty much every class in the game dying in roughly 3 to 4 hits. This also includes PDR, because they don't have any armor, because you're shredding all of it so quick. For my headpiece, I'm going to run the Shadow Mask, because there's no movement speed penalty associated with this, and it gives you agility. So this is a plus net positive movement speed piece, which is always good, because right now, movement speed is king. The faster you are, the better you're going to be. For my chest, I'm going to use the Wanderer attire, because it has the lowest base movement speed penalty, and comes with dexterity, which is quite nice for increasing our action speed. Also grab some Fizz Power to increase my base damage. If you don't know, Fizz Power increases your damage just like Strength does, just without giving you a little bit more HP. So any Fizz Power you can get on your gear is great. You can also go for max health rolls, which are also very strong. Just keep in mind it does get expensive. For my pants, I'm going to run the Cloth Pants because it has the base dexterity, which I want for my action speed. And I am going to grab the max health roll to try to just make myself a little bit tankier, since typically Rogue is going to have a little bit lower HP overall. For my boots, I'm going to be using the Lightfoot boots. These are just by far the best in slot boots in the game, because movement speed is king. So I just grabbed these with a little bit of movement speed bonus. For gloves, I grabbed the riveted gloves to make sure my strength got above 15, because 15 is the threshold where you want to reach in order to not be doing negative damage. And then, of course, we do want true physical damage. This is probably the best stat for Rogue. Every single piece of gear that can roll true fizz damage wants it. This includes the glove, the rings, the cloak, and Frost Amulet, which comes with base true physical damage, which is all fantastic. I went with Vigor for the rings, Vigor for the cloak, and just a little bit of action speed for amulets. But I think technically the max health roll would be better for the amulet. Just keep in mind it does get a little bit expensive. For my secondary, I'm just going to run the hand crossbow. The reason I have a rondelle here is just to give my hand crossbow a little bit of additional armor penetration, which just increases the damage by a little bit, especially versus armored classes. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about why I think this class is so toxic right now, especially for solo gameplay. Right now, Iron Mace has basically forced this class to become what is known as Landmine gameplay. This means that the goal of this build is to try to catch people from off guard, usually in pure invisibility, meaning that there is no counterplay to it, because if you are pure invis and you're also moving without any footsteps with creep, there is no way for somebody to know that you're nearby. So if you're playing in a spot where you hear somebody first and you go invis, there's really no realistic way for them to ever know that you're there. And because of that, you're using ambush to also deal more damage from invis, meaning that when you do attack somebody out of hide, you're going to do tremendous damage between your high action speed, your armor penetration, which means that you can kill every class in the game, and your true damage, which is also just very good and scales very well with how fast you're swinging, resulting in most gameplay from Rogue just being, well, I caught you from invisibility, so I guess you lose, or you caught me without me being invis, so I guess I lose. This isn't to say that Rogue only has one playstyle, which is hide. You can play the variant of Rogue where you focus on ranged and you're just kind of playing like a mosquito, trying to just constantly use rupture to deal damage from afar and whittling people down until you can fight them legitimately. But that said, I think this is probably the strongest playstyle, and as I've seen in my games, I think it's almost every game that I'm seeing at least a few rogues per game. And what feels like half of my fights being rogues, I know it's not really half of my fights, but the amount of invis rogues I'm having to deal with while playing is just getting a little bit tiresome. I want to leave a side note here as well. If you don't know, Normals now has gear brackets, meaning that if you're between 0 and 24 gear score, that's the first bracket, 25 and 124 is the second, and 125 and above is the third. So now, if you are geared in Normals, you will get a lot more geared player fights because you cannot get ungeared players in your lobby below that 125 gear score. So we're in a very interesting period of time where Normals is the place for PvP. Right now, really the place for geared PvP, and High Roller is the more PvE-esque grinding for gold and mobs. The change was completely hidden. I didn't see anything from Iron Mace saying they did this, but it has pretty much been confirmed from my gameplay and from who I've talked to as well. So I just wanted to put it out there if you are interested in knowing about that new feature. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm going to show you a little bit more of the PvP. Let's go and get started. I don't think he sees me. Well, that's unlucky. I'm sure he had a really enjoyable experience. Poor guy, man. Almost feel bad for him. Alright. He almost got me because he was blue-potted, but the jump scare really gets people. That's what's so good about Rogue, is that they jump, like they jump. They get so scared. You know? That's what really gets you. That's just how it is, man. The jump scare. That's what gets you. Like, in a 1v1 straight fight, he beats me. Horseman's Axe is actually one of the better weapons against Rogue, I think. Because it has really decent damage, and it's one-hander, so you have, like, pretty decent mobility still. The problem is, if you get caught from Landmine, it's just, you get frazzled, you know? It's just like, you kind of get jump scared, and it makes you It's a lot harder to play optimally when someone's coming from straight in this. That's the problem with Rogue. Okay. There you go. There you go. GG. Okay. That's fun. Well, that's just how you're supposed to play Rogue. You're supposed to play from stealth. That is how the class has been handcrafted by Iron Mace themselves. Like, that's just how it is. If you catch someone from stealth, you usually win. If you don't, then, you know, you might win, but you'll maybe lose. Oh, okay. There you go. That's why I'm trying to use stealth, so I can kill him. There you go. GG. Maybe the elevation. Yeah, I'm gonna blame the elevation. I can just kill him straight, right? Yeah, I mean, we could just do that too. Jesus, what the hell are you? What? Why do you have such good trinkets? What are you wearing? Jesus Christ. Sure. Well, thank you guys so much for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to like the video, helps the channel, subscribe for future content, and comment below what your thoughts are of, well, just this kind of gameplay in general. I would want to thank Trash Daddy and T3H Malls for supporting this video alongside all my other members. Thank you all. Have a great day.